All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Control, and we are live from the 704 once again for episode 246 of the 815 Exchange. And listen, all right, we've got Champions League Quarterfinals. We've got sinners. We've got sinners. I had to say it twice because the movie was that nice. We've got the NBA playoffs, first round kicked off. All right, some of y'all got the belt and it's not looking good, but we'll talk about it. It's just game one. All right, it's just game one. And of course, in the roundup, we got F1, but we also going to talk a little bit about, not completely though, because of course, we are filming this on Sunday. By the way, happy Easter. All right, he has risen. But, we will talk a little bit about Wrestlemania. Okay, so full episode today. So strap in, get comfy, get cozy, get some food and drink. All right, wherever you listen to this on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever you're listening to this, and enjoy. All right, enjoy. Okay, because we gotta. I'm not gonna say it's a long one, but we got a full episode today. All right, we got a full episode today, and of course, we'll talk about the WNBA draft as well in the roundup. But that's then. All right, that's then. For now, as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys enjoy the content. And as always, if there is anything you're looking for in this life, it can be found in my description. Timestamps, long form content in the description. Social media links in the description, also in the outro. But, like I said, we got things to get into, ladies and gentlemen. We do. Champions League. It's tradition here. We start off with combat sports or Champions League, and it is that season. So let's talk about the QFs. Because listen, Tuesday was literally just survive in advance. All right? It was literally just survive in advance in these like twos. And both of them survived, but barely, by the skin of their teeth. All right? The first up, Aston Villa, PSG. PSG jumped on this. Was looking real nice, looking real good. They scored the first 2 goals of this game. Hakimi and Nuno Mendes. All right? PSG is rolling. Rolling up to this point. I think 27th minute is when Mendes put that one in. They were up well over on aggregate. And then Aston Villa comes charging back. 3 unanswered, but it's not enough. All right? And PSG is able to hold on and advance. It is their first defeat, I believe, of the Champions League, so no longer unbeaten in this run. But yeah, still Luis Enrique got them boys looking sharp. Did take the L in this game, but yeah, advanced on aggregate, got it done. Survive in advance. Sometimes that's the Champions League. Survive in advance, they got it done. Also, we're surviving in advance for one of the hottest teams in Europe right now, and that is the great FC Barcelona. Even though Dortmund put the belt on them, specifically Guirassy put the belt on him as he had a hat trick in this game to break the record for most goals in a Champions League campaign for a Dortmund player, which feels kind of crazy. But you know what? Congrats to him. Dortmund gets the win here 3-1. But Barca dominated that first leg just so much that it really didn't matter. All right. Ultimately, it really didn't matter. They didn't even score a single goal in this game. The only goal they scored in this game was an own goal. So yeah, dreadful performance honestly from Barca, but didn't matter because they were up so long and did so much work in that first leg. And that's going to be a recurring theme with their rivals when we talk about that literally next. But Barca is able to hold on the weekend though. Rafinha, who was pretty much absent in this game against Dortmund, was very much so alive, saved them from the brink of death again. First player since MSN to go over, I think, 50 goals and assists for a season for Barca. So yeah, Rafinha definitely in those Ballon d'Or talks. We'll see if he can cement it. If he can close the Champions League run, that's going to put him in a really good spot. But yeah, he's still cooking. Barca still looking very, very dangerous. Arsenal. People were wondering, all right? They did what had to be done in that first leg and made it tough for Real Madrid. But second legs in the Champions League at the Bernabeu. The Champions League is traditionally Real Madrid's tournament. It is their competition. I've said it here before. I'll say it again. They run it. They run it. And with all of the individual talent on this Real Madrid squad, with Don Carlo at the helm, anything can happen. However, the magic was not to be had. There was no black magic, no voodoo that was saving this Real Madrid team on Wednesday. Arsenal gets the win 2-1. Saka got a penalty that, it was the right call. Raw Asensio, I don't know what he was doing. But then Saka just completely, I don't know why Odegaard gave it up. I get Saka, star boy. But Martin Odegaard, you're the captain. You played for Real Madrid as well. When you were a child prodigy. This moment shouldn't be so big that you're giving this to Saka. As good as Saka is. You're Martin Odegaard. Or supposed to be Martin Odegaard. Take the pin, put it in, put this game to bed. But you didn't. You gave it to Saka. Saka pissed down his leg. I could literally see the urine streaking down his left thigh when he went up to take that penalty, and he just absolutely putrid. Putrid. All right, capital P on that penalty, gets saved. However, he does get the goal that ends up winning this game. Ultimately, and Arsenal does win 2-1. Vinny got one back, but it was too little too late. All right, let's be real. It was too little too late. They were down 4-0 on aggregate. Arsenal handle business. All right, handle business. Credit where credit's due. They're a very talented team, and did what they had to do. Escape the black magic of the Bernabeu in the Champions League. Real Madrid, listen, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. As talented as this team is, it just did not make any sense for Mbappe to just kind of show up, in storyline sense. It just made no sense for Mbappe to just show up and they keep winning, especially of how many times they've won recently. It didn't make any sense in the canon, so I wasn't surprised to see the execution here off. But talking strategically here, they need a stronger midfield. They are missing Modric, and good lord, they need a defense. All right, they need to invest in that defense. You could have all the attacking talent in the world, but listen, as great as Messi was, as good as Ronaldo was, they were surrounded by some great teams and other great legendary players. All right, in the midfields and in the defensive. Gotta have those guys. If you want to have those special teams, you want to win trophies, big time trophies, you gotta have that. Real Madrid does not have that. Arsenal does. So you see what happens here. Real Madrid crashes out here in the QFs. But they shouldn't do anything panicky like blow the team up or blow up the stardom unless somebody really wants to leave. I think that would be stupid. These guys are all ridiculously pretty much young or nearly young players. Jude is still a child almost. All right, somehow, some way. Mbappe's only 26, and he's the oldest, I guess. So, yeah, no reason to blow it up. Y'all got a good thing going. That would be stupid. However, you need to invest in the midfield and the defensive. All right, that's all I'm going to say. Inter and Bayern was the best game of the second legs. By far. By far. It was a banger. All right, they were going back-to-back, ban for ban. They were going ban for ban in this game. Harry scores it to tie on aggregate. Then Lautaro goes right back, puts them one up. Then Pavard gets it, puts it two up. Then Deer strikes back. We were just going man for man. It was good. It was a good one. If you were to watch any of the games this week, maybe Villa versus PSG, or if you were really a hater and you wanted to see Barca or Real Madrid fall off, then, you got a nice little hate watching. But besides that, Inter Bayern as a neutral, banger. All right, an absolute banger. Finishes in a draw. Inter advances. I'm not going to say Team of Destiny yet, but they got a little something about them. All right, they got a little something about them. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Lautaro got them boys on different time, and we will see what happens. But Inter takes out Bayern Munich, and they crash out of the QF. So some big names fall, but not the end. All right, not the end yet. Not the end yet. Let us talk about entertainment. And yes, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this. Sinners finally came out. The boy had to see it day of. All right, the boy had to see it day of. Got the day off for Good Friday, so I took myself to a 1 o'clock showing at the Regal Starlight, and I sat myself in there, and I was ready to see if those Rotten Tomatoes scores were correct, if it was going to deliver. I had faith. It's Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. It's like Scorsese and DiCaprio. It just works. And it worked once again, all right? They had the magic again, and yeah, Sinners believe the hype. So all I got to say is believe the hype, all right? Believe the hype around this movie. It was a great, 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 great movie. Of course, spoiler alert on everything I'm about to say, so skip ahead if you need to. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. I hope you're gone. That one set piece with Sammy, by the way, Miles Caton, in his first, major performance, at least as an actor, knocked it out of the park as Preacher Boy or Sammy. He was tremendous. All right, he was absolutely a standout in this. And that whole sequence of him playing in the juke and then it transporting to different cultures, different black culture, South Asian culture, and the different musical over the generations. That was just such a beautiful, beautiful, one of the coolest scenes. And then the kind of contrast with the Irish Drink, which was another great season of Vampires a little bit later. Just, beautiful stuff. All right, Ryan Coogler is that guy. And him and MBJ, who was tremendous. It's not easy to play two characters, not easy to play two twins and have them feel like different people. You gotta be a great actor to do that. MBJ did a great job with Smoke and Stack. I'm literally going to refer to myself as Smoke. Like, literally, that's gonna be my two personalities. Or if I'm talking with my boy, I'm literally like, I'm Smoke, you Stack. I'm Stack, you Smoke. That's what it's gonna be for the rest of the year. That it might be in a Halloween costume. Alright? Smoke and Stack, very enjoyable. Haley Steinfeld. Oh my, I almost bought a Josh Allen jersey after watching this. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I almost bought a Josh Allen jersey after watching this movie. Oh my days. Haley Steinfeld, one of the, by the way, her, and I gotta give a shout as well to Jamie as well, who played Pierline, because they had some of the sexiest performances without ever taking their clothes off. There was no nudity or anything, but it was just something about the way they carried themselves, Jamie and Haley. Just, it was sexy. It was sexy. It worked. All right. And Haley Steinfeld, by the way, just a great performance as Mary, by the way. That southern accent, it did. They literally extracted that 16th or 4th of black in her and got it all it just felt so natural. It was there. All right. Haley, virtuoso. All right. She was great. One Me. She's getting near, like, if I see One Me in the cast list as a character, I'm starting to be like, yeah, this is going to be a good movie. She's starting to have that effect, right? Same way that if I see Coogler or MBJ or I see Haley, I'm like, yo, this is going to be very well received. Same thing is starting to happen with One Me. She was great as Annie, as that foil, or not really foil, but as that supporting character in that relationship with Smoke. It was really cool to see that develop and see the intricacies and see how deep that was and her just kind of being the voice. She was great. All right, she was great. Delroy Lindo was great as the OG. Just everything. Remick O'Connor was great as Remick, a great villain, and that it kind of underlying story of kind of cultural, not really, I guess not really appropriation, but kind of appropriation, but assimilation. Really, and just kind of how cultures are kind of taken over and that kind of message in it. It was such, in a great horror. I mean, it wasn't like super scary, but it was a good horror movie. It was a good thriller. It was just so many things that was done so well and blended so well. And yeah, it was such a good movie. My favorite movie of the year so far. And yeah, it was a great week for cinema, by the way, because I watched Tombstone the night before for the first time. Yo, shout out to Val Kilmer, rest in peace, by the way, died this week. So rest in peace to the great Val Kilmer. But him as Doc Holliday might be the coolest character of all time. I'm not going to lie to you. Might be the coolest character of all time. But yeah, Tombstone, Fire, Sinners, great movie. Great movie. Super duper cosign. Music from the week. Yeat dropped the bell. Little Coachella release. Solid stuff. Solid little cut from Yeat. I enjoyed it. It's a cosign from the boy. Hills Have Eyes. Westside Gunn just drops music like it's candy at Halloween. Hills Have Eyes, little EP. Einstein's Kitchen and Davey Boy Smith were probably my two standouts. Little 5-song album, and one of them was like a little intro, so nothing too crazy. But good stuff from Westside. Good stuff from the West. Stuff from West. P Money dropping more stuff for the ravers. Dutty feat Flavor D, or really it's feat P Money. I guess it's Flavor D song. But yeah, enjoyed that. P Money in his rave bag is working for me. Alright, I get why he does it so much. It hits. Alright, man can do no wrong. I said it before, I said it again. I'm not going to expand on it a lot right now, but he's becoming one of my favorite artists. So yeah, shout out to P. Good stuff in entertainment this week. Really good stuff in entertainment this week. But ladies and gentlemen, as I take a little water break here. It's time for the NBA. It's time for the NBA playoffs. Yes. So let's talk about these game ones. Because the play-in, I'm not even really going to highlight. I mean, Trae Young crashed out. We really surprised the Hawks. The Hawks. You know, it's the Hawks. I don't even know who crashed out in the West. I don't even remember. It was that unremarkable. I just know the Grizzlies got it done. So credit to whoever lost. Maybe like the Kings or something. I don't know. Don't care. All right, because game one's happened, and that's what I care about. That's what I'm here for. So let's talk about it. Caitlin Clark was in the building at the bridge. as the Pacers took on the Bucks here in game 1 to kick us off. And listen, Giannis has 36 and 12. But he had absolutely no help. He had absolutely no help. Now listen, some of his bench players, like at the far, I mean, they had to dig for it. All right, came through a little bit, a little bit towards the end, made it look a little bit better. But okay, the man had no help. It was a one-man army. It was a 20v1. All right, Giannis was locked in a 20v1, and there was no surviving it. All right, Pacers get the win here, 117-98. Very casual game for Spicy P. He had 25 and 7, did what he had to do. But yeah, Giannis was superstar, amazing, brilliant, but had absolutely no help. Kyle Kuzma said, Tony Snell, you can rest, my brother. I got this. 22 minutes, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 stocks, zeros. All zeros. He dropped a quadruple 0 in the playoffs after we traded for you. I'd be crashing out. I know it was game 1, but if I was a Bucks fan, I'd be crashing out on Kyle Kuzma. Some of y'all was. But I would have, 22 minutes of cardio, and you didn't log a single statistic? Oh my days. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So yeah, Pacers take game 1. Probably gonna win the series. All right, let's be real. They probably gonna win the series. As great as Giannis is, if the Bucks just without Dame, it's just missing something. All right, it's missing something in the recipe. So that's probably gonna go like that. However, the Clippers and Nuggets is gonna be a banger. All right, it's gonna be a banger. The Clippers, of course, led by the Unks. Denver led by the Joker. And the Joker had 20, nearly had a, around had a triple-double per usual. All right, 29, 12, and 9. Aaron Gordon was on one. He had 25. And guess what? It was enough. All right, it was enough to get the job done. 112 to 110. They get it done in overtime. And guess what? Live by the Russ, die by the Russ. And they almost died by it. But in overtime, they came up with a big play on James Harden, former teammate. And yeah, it wasn't really a steal, but he got it to, go off of Harden for the out of bounds. They get the ball back, handle business. Denver gets the win. All right, so shout out to Russ. No slander here. Didn't shoot well in this game, but when it had to happen, he made it happen. That's what a legend does. And Russ is most definitely a legend. By the way, Unc Harden had 32, 6, and 11. He didn't look like Unc. This looked like prime James Harden in this game. I'm not even going to hold you. Kawhi had 22. Could have done a little bit more for me. He could have imposed his will a little bit more on this game. I know Harden was hot. You got to feed him. But I think, in a game this close, if they get a little bit more from Kawhi, probably could have, tilted the scales in their favor. They steal a game 1 here in Denver. But it wasn't a B. Zubac had 21 and 13, by the way, going against Joker. But, all right, Nuggets get a big game 1 win. That's going to be a great series. All right, I'm just saying. I'm calling it now. It's going to be a great series. Knicks and Pistons looks like it's going to be a great series as well. However, the two headliners were pretty much asleep for the first 3 quarters of this game. All right? Cade was on a disaster class. I was about to bash him. He finished with 21, 6, and 12, but it was looking like a woo. Before that 4th, it was looking real ugly. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right, this was literally a Tobias Harris versus OG Anunoby duel for the first 3 quarters of this game. The superstars were, if we want to call them superstars, all right, we got to start protecting that superstar label. All right, so the stars were kind of sleeping. All right, but the Knicks going a 21-0 run in the 4th quarter to supercharge that game 1 win in the Garden, 123 to 112. They get it done. Brunson does end with 34, so yeah, he came alive. OG finishes with 23. Cat had 23 and 11, and the Knicks get it done. Of course, they're the favorites in this series with the Pistons really getting that first taste. But yeah, Detroit, you need it feels like Cade's gonna have one of those games that can steal one. Feels like he's that type of guy. So you just gotta see. It'd be nice if it happened next game. Won't guarantee that, but yeah, it would definitely be nice for Detroit in terms of kind of determining where the series go. But we'll see. All right, but for now, Knicks win game 1. Listen, I tried to tell y'all, man. Listen, I tried to tell y'all. I tried to warn y'all last week. All right, y'all thought this series was going to be sweet for whatever reason. All right, listen, I get it. It's Braun, it's Luka, and when Braun and Luka are Braun and Luka, anything can happen. It's probably the most dangerous duo in the league. All right, 2 absolutely, again, arguably the greatest player to ever live, and arguably the best player in the world today. I get it. Okay. However, it's basketball. It's not just 2 players. As we know with LeBron's career, you gotta have a team. And the Lakers team at times can be a little shaky, and the West is wicked. All right, this is not the East where you might draw somebody that's not as crazy. It's wicked out here. It's real wicked out here out West. Y'all gotta understand that. So when the Timberwolves went and took the belt out the closet and was putting it on them in Staples, I'm still calling it Staples to the day I die. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. Minnesota gets the win here in game 117-95. All right? And it wasn't even Ant. It was not even Ant. Like I said, it takes a team. The Wolves made the Western Conference Final. I know Cat ain't here no more. But they still got Dante. They got Dante DiVincenzo now. He had a big game. Naz Reid is still a hooper. He made a bunch of threes. Had over 20 in this game. Mr. McDaniels, he can still hoop. Bunch of threes in this game. They made 21 threes. A franchise record in this game the Wolves did. It was like watching, for comparison, for those that watch March Madness, like when Bama went on that tirade of threes against, I think it was Tennessee, and it was just like, yeah, you can't beat a team in that moment. Yeah, that's what the Wolves did to the Lakers in this game. Okay? So yeah, not really surprised here. All right, now Lakers did waste an absolute masterclass from Luke. He had 37. He answered the questions. But like I said, this is going to be a much harder game or a much harder series than people are like. People are like, we're kind of thinking, yo, Lakers, they good on this. You know, Wolves, they don't really got it. No, it's not what's about to happen. This is going to be a series. Lakers are going to have to fight, and they're going to have to prove something. We're going to learn a lot about where the Los Angeles Lakers are. I don't think they're ready yet. But we're going to find out where they are. Wolves take game 1. We'll see. I'm not even going to pop up a photo for this next game. I'm not. And I'm not even going to spend that much time talking about it. We're in the NBA playoffs. And apparently somebody didn't tell the Memphis Grizzlies that we're in the NBA playoffs. There were no grenades. Actually, no, there was a grenade. No, there wasn't. That's a lie. There was not a grenade. There was a nuke. There was a nuke that Oklahoma City dropped on Memphis's dome. All right? Dropped it on their head top. Pew. Carnage everywhere. Because I'll be damned. I ain't never in my life. 51? My eyes do not deceive me. The Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Memphis Grizzlies 131-80 in this game, which for those calculating at home is a 51-point win in the playoffs. I mean, 51 in any scenario is crazy in basketball, but you got beat by 51. I don't even got it. Congrats on Oklahoma City Thunder for advancing to the next round of the NBA playoffs. I ain't gonna say nothing else. All right, I didn't read no statistics. I just put 51. That's literally on my notes. It's 51. I'm not throwing up a photo. Done with. All right, Thunder. See you next round. That's over with. All right, we back for the back half. All right, really just one game though. All right, Boston took care of Orlando 103-86 in that game 1. D. White went off. All right, Derek White had a hell of a game. He had 30 points in this game, but JT and JB were rather pedestrian for their standards, in the playoffs especially, for the defending champs. Shout out to Cookout, by the way. They were rather pedestrian. Very, very, inefficient games shooting-wise. JT did have 17 and 14, so, still had that big double-double. And again, they're two players that, because of their two-way talents, they can affect the game in a multitude of ways. So while it wasn't the best scoring day for those guys, defensively, rebounding, just doing the little things, championship pedigree. It's what separates the Celtics. It's what makes those guys superstars. So yeah, JT, JB, not the most efficient night. D. White really carried the load there. But, you'll take an almost 20-point win against the Magic here. Paulo had 36 and 11. All right, he was great. There's been a lot of slander on Paulo Banchero's name, but there can be none in this one. All right, there can be none. He and Franz were the only players with a pulse for Orlando in this game. And, it's not going to be enough. Ultimately, it's not going to be enough. Let's be real. Boston might sweep them. But it's good to see Paulo have a good outing. And, yeah, as a Duke fan, to see Paulo versus JT, maybe the best two Duke players currently in the besides maybe Zion as well. We could probably, throw in that tag for top two. Obviously, when Zion's healthy. But Cool little matchup there. All right, cool little matchup. But Boston probably gonna take care of business. Heat Cavs is coming up at 7. All right, I'm recording this currently at 6:30. So yeah, I'm trying to finish this up before I can watch the rest of Wrestlemania, which we'll talk about in the roundup. But yeah, Heat Cavs. I expect the Cavs to take care of the Heat, even though Harrell was going off in the play-in. But yeah, I feel like the Cavs just gotta they're on a different level, better team. Should take care of them in game one. We'll see. Rockets Warriors is going to be very interesting. We gonna learn a lot. All right, tomorrow when y'all watch this, we'll know, but we gonna learn a lot in this game one. All right, wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors take it, but it could be a great chance for the Rockets to make a statement in terms of, hey, we're not. This is not what y'all think. A lot of people picking the Warriors for this upset. Well, actually, it's not even an upset. The Warriors are the favorite in the series, but according to seedings, Rockets get a chance to really make a statement here. So we'll see. With all those young players, that young core's first, real major playoff game. We'll see what happens. But yeah, should be an interesting round one here in the NBA. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the roundup. Yes. All right. Jeddah, Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, however you want to call it. Rather normal. All right. Nothing really crazy. Quali was very exciting. But yeah, the race wasn't all too crazy. Oscar, 3 straight. I said it last week. I'll say it one more time. I better take the boy serious. Take him serious. He is a championship contender. Take him serious. I feel like because of Oscar's disposition, not a lot of people are talking about him in the way we really should probably be talking about him. Like, this is a general. I mean, we shouldn't throw that tag out a lot, right? And the guy right now that I guess is getting the generational tag is, Max has it, obviously. Lewis would be a generational talent. And then, I guess Kimmy, right, is the potential generational talent. Oscar needs to be mentioned in that vein. I'm sorry. Dominated F3. Dominated F2. Won in his rookie season. Only done by the elites plus Hulk. All right, and Hulk's not too bad either. But, obviously he's not Lewis or Charles or George. Those guys that did it also before. But Oscar did that. He was that guy. He was top prospect. Future world champ. We need to be talking about it more. We need to be putting more respect on Oscar Piastri's name. And yeah, 3 straight here in Saudi. He takes the championship lead. Lando crashed out in quality. Had a good drive to get back to fourth. Couldn't quite catch Charles, who was driving the hell out of the red tractor from Italy. Ferrari, please stop pissing me off. Get that man a proper car. Please. Please. I'm going to be sick if Charles never wins a championship with how good he is. It's outrageous. All right, Max was driving the wheels off the Red Bull. Dangerous. All right, he's still Max. Still the best in the world. Make no mistake about it. But Oscar needs to be taken seriously. 3 straight, man. 3 straight. WNBA draft was this weekend as well. Page went number 1 as expected. Gonna make for interesting stuff in Dallas. All right, a lot of people picturing that Dallas Indiana game already, so we'll see. Page does go number 1 as expected, like I said. Mystics had a big draft. Georgia Amore, Sonia, who goes 3rd. They picked Kiki 4th. So yeah, new look Mystics, 3 really talented rookies. We'll see what happens and how it matches up there. Of course, the Valkyries had their first picks. They picked a very surprising pick there. But I feel like they're sort of kind of tanking in a way for like Lauren and Juju. I really wouldn't be shocked if that's the game plan to get those 2 Cali stars to kind of jumpstart their team in the future. And they're just kind of lulling and just kind of waiting around a little bit for now. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, WNBA draft is always interesting because we don't have the amount of teams that we will. We're building there. We got Toronto coming the year after this year. So we're building up, but not everybody makes those second and third round picks don't always make the team. So unfortunate, but yeah, still not as super hyped as last year, but still should be a pretty solid class. And of course, Paige is coming, so a lot of excitement there. Dom went to Seattle with the number 2 pick. A lot of people saw Rakia saying, "Do not dunk on me." Dom, I can't wait. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that. She could be a unicorn, man. She could be a real unicorn. Should be fun, though. I can't wait for the WNBA season. We'll be covering it here on the A15 Exchange. Let's talk about Wrestlemania. All right, let's talk about Wrestlemania. Actually, before that, I do want to give a quick shout-out here. NHL Round 1 started. We'll talk about that next week. Aaron Judge is going nuts right now for the Yankees as a hitter. Not even just like home runs, just like as a hitter. like putting all-time offensive numbers up. Just like, dude, he's crazy. All right, he's crazy. It's a gift that he plays for my team. But Wrestlemania and I guess NXT Stand and Deliver. All right, we had two great triple threats yesterday. Two great ones. Seth Punk Roman, of course, which ended with the Wise Man turning on both Punk. All right, Paul Heyman is the greatest backdoor artist of all time. The slimiest of the slimiest. All right, he should be YSL. It's crazy. Crazy. He's the Penguin. He is the Penguin. Paul Heyman is the Penguin. Okay? And it's fitting because a lot of people like to call Seth the Joker. And honestly, in Roman's story at this point, Seth is the Joker. But yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, it's the Joker and the Penguin linking up. But yeah, all-time moment in an all-time match. All right, one of the best triple threats of all time. Seth Punk Roman proved why they went in the main event. I don't know why it was discussion, to be honest, of why it was like, it was not controversial. I do think that the women's main event that is about to be going on in literally 20 minutes could have been a main event, but it's Seth, Roman, Punk. Three of the greatest of all time, and they proved it. All right, so well-deserved. Crazy angle, of course, at the end with Paul aligning with Seth, which is kind of where I thought it was going. Now, if this supergroup theory is true, and Seth and Paul spin the block on Cody to help Cena get his 17th tonight, which might happen. We'll know. You'll know by the time you're watching this. That would be insane. All right, something's going to happen. You just know something's going to happen. It's Triple H era. Cena's winning that 17th. We leaving here with something. All right, I'm sorry, QB1. I love you, Cody. But Cena's leaving here with 17th. I don't know how it's going to get done. I'm expecting theatrics because that is the modern WrestleMania main event. So, yeah, we will see. All right, we will see. Night 2 should be better than Night 1. Whole lot of Night 1 was like, Night 2 should be a lot better. So, excited for that. NXT Stand and Deliver was elite. All right, Fraxium, love you. Best tag team in the world. Passed it off to Hank and Tank, who I've been high for a minute. Steph is that girl. We knew this. So Ruka gets her flowers. That was cool. Ego and Starks killed it. And then, of course, another great triple threat. Was the triple threat of the day before the WrestleMania main event. The Stand and Deliver main event with my three black brothers, Obafemi, Javon Evans, who was... Javon... I haven't seen a wrestler that athletic since Young Ricochet and Young Ospreay. It's crazy what he can do in the ring. He's going to be a superstar. As long as Javon keeps his head on his shoulders and stays healthy, limitless. It's limitless, bro. It's limitless. What he can do is limitless. This was the perfect concoction. I think Trick's skill set is so well done. Obviously, with what Oba can do and what Javon can do, Trick being that third man and the character he is, it's just made for a great, triple threat. So yeah, shout out to Trick for holding his own. In that sense, Oba, still the ruler, though. He did retain. But good stuff, man. It's a bright future. Bright future with NXT. HBK is cooking up. And yes, all right, we'll see. All right, WrestleMania, listen, we leaving here with something. That's all I know. Cena winning 17th. We leaving here with something. Y'all know how it happened by then. If that super group happens, though, bro, that's going to be crazy, bro. That's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Cookout again. Great sweet tea, great food. You're a Southerner, you know Ball, North Carolina, shout out. But yeah, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, for episode 246, Ocho signing off.